Hello guys, Gareth here and welcome to this live stream test. This is a test live stream because hopefully this weekend I'm going to be 2 seconds guys. I'm just muting myself on the YouTube video that's beside me on the computer. This is a test stream because hopefully this weekend, maybe next week, we'll see how things go. I'm going to be doing a Google Live Hangout with myself, Luke, and 2 other people if they can hopefully make it. They are Deep Sea Skeptic and 80s Horror Fan 88. I'm not going to tell you their real names just yet in case they don't want me to, but yes, hopefully at some point I can get a Google Live Hangout with all 4 of us. I would hope to make this a regular thing like someone else that I know and Luke actually knows. We'll see how things go, how people's meet up, but this is a test essentially to make sure everything is working, because it has been years, and I do mean years, since I last did a live Google Hangout, so I need to make sure I know where all the controls are, how, you know, where things are. 80s Horror Fan 88 has just showed up. Hi there, mate. Thank you very much for popping into this test stream. Hope you don't mind me doing a little test stream with Luke, just to make sure things are running smoothly and make sure all things are tickety boo. So, Luke, if you'd like to introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are.
Well, of course. Hello, I'm Luke. I have a YouTube channel by the name of Mr. Lukey Skywalker 90, and I haven't done a video in quite some time. I'm thinking about possibly redoing a new video. I don't know yet. Obviously, I keep on saying to Garth here that I know I need to do another new video, and I don't seem to get round to it. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's the right step forward. So, yep.
Sorry guys, I'm just pouring out some Coke to wet the old whistle, as they say. Hi there, Malcolm. May 2 December has just turned up and said, hey guys, look forward to seeing your stream. Your camera is very blurry, Gareth. Yes, I know my camera is very blurry, and to be completely honest, I may be using a USB camera when we next do this. Again, this is simply just a test stream to see how things work out and to see how these things go. It's not supposed to be the the best quality in the world. It is literally, to see how things go, how things run, all that kind of stuff. As long as you can relatively see me and relatively hear me, hopefully this will go relatively smoothly. 80s Horror Fan 80 says hello, Luke.
Hi, dude. What's up?
So I'm hoping when we next do this, I'll have some sort of facts. Yeah, I'm just going to bring some random facts to the table. No, I'm hoping I'll have some subjects to bring to the table so I can actually keep things running at a fair clip, because there are some people who do these live streams who tend to, let's just say, stumble, and then there's just dead air. And if you know productions, podcasts, videos, dead air is a dead no. I'm very much a believer in dead air is not a good thing. However, for this particular stream, there may be a bit of a dead air because I have no idea what to talk about. I've roped Luke into this because he's the only person I can contact at that time in the morning that I know is around and can do this. And also he's the only person that's in my Google circles that I can invite into this. That reminds me, I have to make sure I actually invite both 80 Horror Fan 88 and Deep Sea Skeptic into my Google circle so I can actually incorporate them into this call when we next do it. But I suppose the first thing we can launch off with is our thoughts on Horizon. That's probably a good way to start because we're both playing that game right now, and I know that's still a pretty hot commodity among gamers. So take it away, Luke.
I was about to say I've got 2 subjects to talk about. One, cheese and onion.
Oh, cheese and onion crisps. Yeah.
And 2, butter.
Don't make me spit my drink all over my laptop.
Cough,
Sorry,
cough.
my medicine. Sorry, medicine. My cough medicine.
Yes, yes.
Honestly, this does. By the way, guys, I know there's probably quite a few people that don't mind Diet Coke. In fact, it's probably the better option when it comes to healthiness. But Pepsi Cherry Max, it literally tastes like cough medicine to me. I don't know what it is about this stuff. I'm only drinking it because I would throw this away, but I'm only drinking it because I don't like to waste things. So, you know, I'm drinking it despite it tasting like cough medicine, and not the good cough medicine. I know there's some cough medicine you quite gladly down in one, but this isn't good cough medicine. Anyway, sorry about that.
I've got a war on my hands. 2 seconds. I know it's unprofessional, but you've got a war on your hands.
A war? Oh God, the gloves are off. It seems. I wasn't expecting a battle. You want a battle? Here's a war. So this is where I uncomfortably ramble while Luke is off getting something. I've got a war on my hands. Egg! I'm just going to come up with random references.
Very unprofessional, but yes. Do you want a war? I've got one for you. Ta-da!
Oh. See, Diet Coke is probably better than this stuff.
Actually, no. I'll switch it round, seeing as I'm further than you, and I have been asking for quite a while. What are your thoughts on it?
He has actually. Oh, very quickly before we go any further, 80s horror fan 88 says I'm a hardcore GTA fan, but it's full of models at the moment. Actually, I'll come onto that a little bit later. I do have some things to say about GTA 5 and GTA 5 on the PC, and to do with modders and hackers, and yes, and also May to December. Malcolm says it is funny I'm drinking caffeine-free Coke right now. I've got nothing against people who want to drink Diet Coke for healthy reasons or caffeine-free Coke for healthy reasons, but to me personally, this cherry Diet Pepsi Max, whatever the hell it is, tastes like cough medicine. Anyway, so as Luke alluded to, I've been quite elusive in my thoughts and opinions of Horizon Zero Dawn. One of the reasons was it was getting a lot of praise. It was being lauded across the board. And sometimes when that happens, when the zeitgeist is very up about a game, I like to wait until the zeitgeist maybe, runs down a little bit, then give my thoughts and opinions of what I think. I'm going to say it straight out. I think Horizon Zero Dawn is by far one of the best exclusives Sony have ever put out, and probably one of the best.
Bloody hell.
One of the best PS4 games ever made. Not only is an achievement on a console, which sometimes you look at the graphics and you think, this is supposed to be the 18th generation of consoles, and some games look utter shit. And you look at things like The Last of Us, you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, and it is an achievement in more ways than one. Not only is it an achievement from that point of view, it's an achievement from the point of view that Guerrilla made it.
Especially with Killzone.
Exactly. The people who made Killzone made Horizon Zero Dawn. And those words, I feel like a robot bugging out whenever I say that. I feel like when I go bzz, bzz, because it just, when you say those words, you need to take a step back and realise that you're saying, hang on a minute, Guerrilla, who made Killzone, made Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's just
mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing. Obviously, if you guys don't know, I'm quite a big fan of Kind of Funny. I listen to PS I Love You XOXO every Monday, which is hosted by both Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. And obviously, I listen to them, every Monday for 52 weeks a year. Excuse me. And of course, Horizon Zero Dawn has been on the horizon for a very long time. So they've been speaking about it for very long, and they're very close to a lot of the Sony studios. So, you know, they know that the internal employee structure and development structure at Guerrilla has changed dramatically for them to be able to even attempt a game like Horizon Zero Dawn. And to go from a first person shooter in which, you know, the gunplay and the gameplay in Killzone is brilliant, but the story isn't really what you come to for Killzone. Well, let's be honest, you're shooting a Helghast in the bloody face. Whereas when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn, I would almost tentatively say that the story, for the most part, is front and center, but all of the systems in that game come together in a way that, again, you wouldn't think that a developer that's come from Killzone has come out with Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, when a company goes from, or developer goes from one very distinct style to another, there's some stumbling blocks in between. Whereas they've just come out with this. The best comparison I can make is Hello Games. I've come up with No Man's Sky. They did Joe Danger before No Man's Sky, and it's safe to say there's been some stumbling blocks between Joe Danger and No Man's Sky. Whereas Horizon Zero Dawn has just come out. And the reason why that's actually quite a pertinent comparison is because Sony actually funded part of No Man's Sky, and of course, Guerrilla is a first-party studio to Sony, so that's a bit more of a pertinent comparison than some people, excuse me, would acknowledge. As I said in the previous video, if people haven't seen it, there's a few people having a go at the fact that it's a female lead character in Horizon Zero Dawn. I've said this to Luke, I'll say it again, but people have a really short memory sometimes. One of the first gaming icons was Lara Croft, who, I don't know if I'm mistaken here, as a female. Unless, you know, I'm confused with that one. Anyway,
She's a transgender.
She could be. She could be.
Oh dear.
80s Horror Fan 88 just said, I've not played Zero Dawn, but you've convinced me now my PS4 has only ever seen GTA 5 disc inside it. Oh, bloody hell, man.
You need to branch out, dude.
Your
Honestly, get
PS4
that
GTA 5, bloody hell. There are some games I could remount to you right now. But no, honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, I am, even only at 8 hours into the game, I am extremely confident in saying that Horizon Zero Dawn is easily one of PS4's best exclusives, best games outright, I would say. As I've had discussions with Luke, my personal favourite game on the PS4 is probably Bloodborne, for different reasons. It's a much darker game and maybe aligns with my darker sense of self, I suppose, my darker sense of humour, that sort of stuff. Whereas, you know,
the Christian Grey people.
Whereas Horizon Zero Dawn is a bit more upbeat. Obviously, there are some parts of the game that aren't so upbeat. But obviously, Bloodborne is, the whole point of the game is to be dark, dreary, you know, down in the dumps. It's a Dark Souls type game, so that's the whole point of it. But having said that, I mean, some people have said that Horizon Zero Dawn is the best game ever made. I'm not going to go that far because there are so many games better than it. I would say I've spent far more time with GTA 5 and maybe say that GTA 5 systems are better implemented. But then GTA 5 is the... So yeah, GTA 3, Vice City, then you had Liberty City and Vice City Stories, San Andreas, obviously, GTA 4. So you've had, what 5-6 iterations before GTA 5 came out. So they had a long time to refine those systems and then release GTA 5 in the state it did. And as you don't know, it cost $264 million to make and has made an enormous amount of money back. But what I'm trying to say is GTA 5 has had games before it that have led up to it, that have, you know, led into its development cycle and, you know, has come out a grand game. in some ways, I would say Horizon Zero Dawn is even more of an achievement considering that, because, as I said earlier, Guerrilla have gone from Killzone to Horizon Zero Dawn, which once again makes my brain freeze for a minute thinking about it. Just to answer some of these questions. Where are we? So Malcolm has said, I have to say, from playing the game for over 15 hours now, I really like the game. Play it never feels over convoluted like a lot of RPG games, and I think that makes the game easy to pick up. Into the story for the story, it really keeps you wanting more forward. I like how the female character, although it's not serialized like Lara Croft, was to me that makes the game even better having a stronger female figure. And Oris Fan 88 has said, remember getting my PS1 in pre-order, good days, and Zelda the NES is the best. And he also said up here that the original Tomb Raider was pure nostalgia. I completely agree with that. Before I maybe go into the finer elements of Horizon Zero Dawn, if you want to give your opinions on Horizon Zero Dawn, Luke.
Well, I mean, I'm 31 hours into it now, and obviously, I don't know, I'm really taking my time with it, so to speak. And it's just like, I don't know, everything I do is like I've never stepped closer, and I haven't played on it for what? Since Friday, but that's only because I've had like things to do and what have you. And like, I mean, I could have played on it for what? 4 hours, but like, I don't know, I thought, no, I don't really want to, because I know for a fact I'll get really into it and stuff. And then, I don't know, I've just got a funny feeling that, like, if I go on it again, I don't know, I don't want it to be over. And I don't know, but I don't know, every time I go on it, sort of thing, it's just like, I don't know, it blows my mind, like, every time. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know, I get really engrossed. But I don't know, I mean, as a lot of sort of said to you earlier, might possibly play it later, but I don't know, it's just, I don't know, I want like a sort of a solid time where I know for a fact I can just be like, yeah, okay, I'll play it now, because I know for a fact I'll be like really into it and stuff. And I don't know, I don't think it's a game that you can like play on for like half an hour.
No.
Because it just won't seem that, no. But I don't know, I mean, I'm 31 now and starting to get like, I don't know, like the upgrades and stuff, and it's just bloody brilliant.
Leandro has popped in, hello, and said, hi Garth, hope you're well. I'm extremely well. Thank you very much. For reasons I'll reveal in a video at some point, connected to 80 Horror Fan 80 actually. I'm in a really good mood right now. On what Luke was saying about Horizon Zero Dawn, it is a game you can't play for half an hour at a time. Not only is the game or an hour, as Malcolm was saying, it sucks you in so many ways. But not only that, it's an open world game in which you get from A to B, and you may go off the path a little bit, and then 2 hours later, you're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be going to this place, and you find yourself for 2 hours playing in the grass, killing robot dinosaurs, and you forget where you were. Obviously, I'm going to keep spoilers to a bare minimum. Luke has sort of alluded to me some other things that happen later on in the game. He's shown me a couple of screenshots, shall we say. And I have to say, and obviously Malcolm's a bit further in than I am, he's about double the amount that I'm in right now. Luke's then double that again. How do I put this? Things are going to get interesting. There are some interesting things ahead. Definite interesting things ahead. I will say, for anybody who is thinking of picking up the game, that's looked at the material that Sony have put out, it's not just robot dinosaurs you're going to be facing. I'm going to say no more than that. Obviously, you're facing humans as well. That's probably been said in the run up to it anyway. But yeah, you're not just fighting those things. There are other things that eventually you'll get to, and some people have explained the game as opening up like a flower, in that it very gently opens up it very gently opens up its secrets to you. And when it does open up its secrets to you, you go, holy fuck. I've heard a lot of things about the game. I'm trying to stay clear of spoilers, obviously. One thing I want to say very quickly about spoilers. 80s horror fan 80s horror fan 88 has mentioned about Zelda. Of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild has just come out. It's been available on Nintendo servers for quite some time now. In fact, it was actually available the Tuesday before it's actually due to come out. As a result of that, it's been downloaded by a bunch of people illegally, basically, or against Nintendo's better judgment. I see Luke smiling there, and I know why he's smiling, but anyway. But what I'm trying to say is people have gotten hold of the game, they've data mined the whole game, and basically the internet is full of spoilers on Zelda Breath of the Wild. So if you're really interested in Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I've just got a notification. Oh,
That's not from me, don't worry.
I was just checking it wasn't from YouTube. Someone commenting on the channel, on the video. Yes, so basically, if you're playing through Breath of the Wild or you don't want spoilers for Breath of the Wild, then I would steer clear of the usual places on the internet because it's basically out there now because people have data mined the game. And what data mining basically means is taking the file that is the game, running a program over it, and just basically ripping the game apart. The game, on average, from what I'm hearing, takes about 100 hours to play before you can beat, spoiler alert, kind of, before you can beat Ganon. Ganon's in it, but then Ganon's been in every Zelda, pretty much. Not every Zelda, but pretty much. Yes, it takes about 100 hours to get to the point where you can safely beat Ganon. Whereas, of course, if you data mine it, it takes a few hours, if that, and then they can just put all the information out on the internet, and away you go with that. So, just warning you guys. I mean, there's not as much story in Zelda than there is in Horizon, but just to give you a heads up on that one, guys, because last thing I want is for people to accidentally stumble upon spoilers on their favourite things. Anything else to say about Horizon? Maybe some of the more specific elements of it?
Sadiq, I'm going to say, apparently, they're associating Horizon with the Witcher 3.
Yes, I've heard that comparison a lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, with all of the content in The Witcher, it takes 200 hours to complete, apparently, which is a lot of fucking time. As I looked up the other day and worked it all out, I was like, bloody hell, that's a lot of time. It would work out at, if you were to play it for 24 hours a day at 180 hours, it'd take you 22 days to complete it. And that's if you were to play it for 24 hours a day constantly. No one's going to do that. You'd probably be dead before that. So I then worked out how long it'd take you if you were to play it for 200 hours a day on an average of 8 hours a day. You're looking at 3 months. And of course, if you don't play it for 8 hours a day, maybe if you play it for 4 hours a day, you're looking at 6 months. That is ridiculous. The amount of time it'd take you to complete that game. But yes, just to give you a bit of a, I think that's what I worked out as. I could be completely off on that. But yes, people are comparing Horizon Zero Dawn to The Witcher. Basically, people are saying this is how you do an open world correctly, because people felt as if The Witcher, you were inundated with things to do, whereas on Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a lot more organic, the way things are given to you and the way things. Sorry.
Well, seeing as I've played The Witcher 3, I don't know. Compared to Horizon, I do think Horizon is a lot more freer than Witcher is.
80s Horror Fan 88 has just said, is Zero Dawn kind of like Far Cry in a way? Yes.
I would say no.
There are a lot of things. Sorry, you want to say no?
I would say no.
The reason why I'd say yes is there are definitely elements of tower climbing in the game. I'm not going to say exactly what you climb, but it's very interesting what you climb. There are bases you have to clear out of enemies. There are areas you have to clear out. There are mounts you can ride. So there are like vehicles, I suppose you could say it.
Brum brum.
Brum brum. Or whatever it is you play around with. You said Malcolm's just said Horizon Zero Dawn is what Far Cry Primal could have been. People have said that. I would say there are similarities between Horizon Zero Dawn and Far Cry, especially Far Cry Primal. It's an open world. There are camps to take out. There are animals in the world. They're robot animals instead of actual animals. And it is similar in ways, except it's third person and has a killer story to boot. And it's a female protagonist. So, you know.
All the better. All the better.
One thing I do want to say about it is the design. Oh, very quickly, Malcolm has said, I am one of the unlucky ones. My wife makes me play The Witcher and Horizon Zero Dawn with her. So I only get to play them for 2-3 hours a day. That will take me a while to ever to complete. I've got an interesting story about that. There was a guy who used to be online. I think his name was Shane Jensen, if I remember correctly. And he used to have this video every Friday called the Friday Night. What's it called? The Friday Night. Not procedure. The Friday Night. I forgot what he used to call it. Anyway, every Friday night he'd pop to his favourite restaurant, get a takeaway meal, come home, and then he'd watch an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And he bought all of The Next Generation, all 9 seasons. Spent $300 on it. And every Friday, you know, if he had a particularly good week, he'd watch 2 episodes a week, but he'd always stay to 1 episode a week. And he was very OCD about that. And at some point, if I saw him elsewhere on YouTube, he's a very good friend of Robbie Webster, who's another pillar of the DVD community. And I quite often see him on Robbie's YouTube page. And I go to Robbie's YouTube page, and people will talk to Robbie or talk to Shane, you know, back and forth. And people would say, "Oh, I've just binge watched the first season of The Next Generation. What do you binge at, Shane?" Sort of thing. And Shane would start to get quite angry with people that he was very set in his ways. Unfortunately, that's the one. Friday Night Ritual. Thank you, Damo R. Dags. Bloody hell, thank you. Friday Night Ritual, that's the one. He's very set in his ways, bless him. Unfortunately, he's no longer on YouTube. I do believe he had some problem with family, and I do believe that his OCD or his eccentricities did get the better of him when he closed down his YouTube channel. It's a real shame he shut down his YouTube channel, because I really like his Friday Night Ritual videos. And he was actually a really nice guy, and came across as a really affable guy. But it's just that reminds me of what Malcolm just said. He can only play Horizon Zero Dawn for 2-3 hours a day. Shane Jensen was very, very, very exact in his watching only 1 episode of Star Trek a week. He eventually got through it and then proceeded on to Deep Space Nine and then watched that for a bit. But yes, I always think of that whenever someone says they can only do things for a set amount of time. One thing I was going to say about Horizon Zero Dawn, I digress, is that the design of the robot animals, I suppose this is kind of a spoiler alert, but not really. The animals have weaknesses on them. So they've got like barrels and things on them that you can shoot with arrows and they blow up, basically. But one thing that I like about it is they're incorporated into the design in such a way that doesn't make it as if they're tacked on, as if whoever designed, you know, the antelope type creature and then just tacked on the expendable things on the back. It all looks natural and seamless.
And every animal obviously has a different weakness.
Yes, as I'm discovering the hard way. There are some there are some things the animals are weak to you don't get till way later on in the game, and it's quite frustrating. That's all I'm going to say to that one.
Especially having to watch you share play for what? Was it about 2 hours the other
It was
night?
about 2-3 hours. Even at one point, Luke goes, "Oh, use this arrow. I don't have that arrow." Because, of course, Luke was at that time 22 hours into the game and has got most of the equipment you can get in the game. And it's like, "Oh, use this arrow. I don't have that arrow yet." Although I think I'm actually close to getting one of the particular arrows that's going to help me out, because I know from watching other content of the game how it works. I'm actually very close to getting hold of the weapon that allows you to potentially get that weapon. So, excuse me. 80s horror fan 88. I must admit, I dragged out Breaking Bad as I was worried I would have had withdrawal symptoms. Please say all of us here rate that it's the best TV series ever made. Full stop. I've got something to own up to. I've only seen the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. I've owned that on box set 3 times at this point, and never actually sat down and watched it. There are a few reasons why. One of the reasons why was when I first started watching it a few years back. It's a very in places hard-hitting show, from what I understand. For me, it's a little bit hard to get into. But it is a very bingeable show, only 10 episodes per season, so it's a very bingeable show. So at some point I will definitely get hold of that again and binge it, although I've just realised I still have it in my Ultraviolet's HD library somewhere, so I could probably watch it anyway.
And also it's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting it's on Netflix because Let's Call Saul or whatever it's called, Soul. The spin-off show is, of course, also on Netflix, and of course they got the rights to Breaking Bad as well. Yeah, I haven't seen Breaking Bad. Sorry,
I've only watched up to season 2, episode 3, and that's because I got shown it from a certain person who I won't name in the chat. But yeah, as soon as she showed me the first episode, I was like, so yeah. No.
You sure you don't want to mention that name? You sure?
No, thank you. I'll do it after.
Is it a bad name or a good name?
Good. It's someone who was talking to you about earlier.
Yeah, I know who it is. She's right.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was a good name or a bad name.
Good. Partaking in The Last of Us. No spoilers there.
Oh! It wasn't who I was thinking of, actually.
Okay.
It was the other person we were talking about earlier.
Oh, the hunt for it is next month.
The last song, Baby, blew my God. I was the nearest I've ever been to showing emotion.
You know the certain part that you died, God knows how many times the other night.
Yeah.
I did that a similar way to you, using the same arrows that you used at that time. And I tell you what, it took me about half an hour, no joke, and about several attempts.
It took me half an hour and I kept failing it. How the hell am I going to get through that bloody area? Anyway.
It was tough. Granted, it was very tough. Oh yes, Deirdre.
Not an easy area. So the other thing I was going to speak about, since I have Luke on the on here as well, and I've got 80s Horror Fan 88 in the chats. So Luke knows this, but for all who are here, I will explain it once again. I'll be honest, and I don't think Luke would necessarily say this is too bad. Actually, Malcolm's in the chat as well. Just realised I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to some horror films. Sometimes I let my imagination get ahead of me and think that the actual reality of what's going to go on is far worse than what actually goes on. And as a result, it takes me fucking ages to actually finally watch horror films.
40%.
So I bought Alien, the Alien Quadrilogy set, when I was 17. In fact, as you guys know, Alien in the UK is an 18, so I technically bought it when I was underage. But I didn't actually watch it till I was 20. Yes, it took me 3 years to finally pluck up the courage to watch Alien. I've now watched that film. No horror rules. No horror rules. Okay. I finally plucked up the courage to watch Alien, and as Luke knows, it is by far one of my favourite films. I've watched it upwards of 20 times at this point.
Really quickly,
Yep.
Are you planning on possibly buying Alien Isolation? You mentioned
I
it.
bought it.
Did you?
I
When?
bought it in a bundle the other day. It was on Bundle Stars for £6.29, the whole lot.
See, man, you don't flip and tell me.
I
Blah.
told you! I said I
Did
bought
you?
Alien Isolation. You said, oh, that's off the list now.
Okay.
Because you then revealed you were going to buy it at some point because you know how much I like Alien. You went, oh, that's off the list now. Because you had it on the list on birthday or Christmas.
Yep. I bought it and I completed it, and oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Put it this way, certain part in it was, I don't know, like really tense, and obviously, like, TV, dark, and certain, no, even no. Basically, what happened is this like scary bit came on, and obviously, I don't know what happened, but the pad flew up in the air, and I actually caught it. Obviously, I went like that, and I caught it. I was like,
oh, that's brilliant.
So, yeah. But it weren't anything like how I was during playing Outlast.
Oh, Outlast.
Remember that?
That's a story we've been telling a bit. Oh my god, Outlast. Anyway, so as I was saying, it takes me a while to pluck up the courage. I bought AC488 said I had a really long chat with Robert England, aka Freddie at Exeter Comic Con. He's such a nice guy.
Bloody hell.
He did admit he got tad freaked out by Paranormal Activity, the first one. Oh, that's interesting. Robert England. So even the horror monsters get freaked out at times. Yes, they do. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human at the end of the day, despite being a dream invading demon, whatever Freddy Krueger actually is. So yes, I actually bought 28 Days Later. I think when it came out, I bought the deluxe edition. Again,
brilliant
it took me bloody ages to finally watch it. Watched it, and it's by far my favourite. Probably my favourite Danny Boyle film, actually. Yeah, by far one of my favourite films. So there's a trend. There's a trend here, isn't there? So I buy a horror film, and it takes bloody ages to watch it, and it turns out to be one of my favourite films ever. So I sent Luke a screenshot. Sorry, I need to go back a little bit. So about 3-4 months ago, me and Luke were sending pictures between each other of stuff on.
Oh yeah,
yeah, dick pics. Yeah, you know.
Oh, yes,
yeah. Anyway, Stella Cream from Zas Variation. Oh, this is what you look forward to, Horror Fan 88. Anyway, so me and Luke were sending pictures of each other to each other from eBay. So Luke, a few years ago, very graciously gave me his Blu-ray steelbook of Halloween. I can't find it bloody anywhere. Okay. Also, if you guys don't know, this is another, you know where this is going. Luke gave me, sorry, out of his own collection, a sealed copy of the 1978 Halloween Blu-ray Steelbook. Took me bloody age to watch it, but when I did watch it, I phoned Luke straight away and said that is a phenomenal film. And for a film that was made on a budget of 70 grand, for crying out loud, it is an accomplishment in more ways than one. So anyway, brain fart, 2 seconds. Anyway, so last January, as I've said a few occasions on my channel, I had a big splurge. I sold a lot of my DVDs and Blu-rays to be able to afford a PC upgrade. I'm absolutely there was a stone in the pit of my heart that I think I sold Halloween Steelbook, which would crush me in more ways than one. Not only because Luke gave it to me, but because it's by far one of my favourite films, and it's Luke's probably favourite film franchise of all time. So Luke was basically sending me screenshots of various versions of Halloween on Blu-ray or Blu-ray Steelbook on eBay. Then somehow we got onto the Friday the 13th collection, the Crystal Lake to Manhattan collection. And it was going for like 40, 50 quid, which me and Luke kept thinking, that's quite pricey for this set, because that set's been around for bloody forever. And it seemed quite pricey. Then randomly one day, Luke sent me a link through eBay that was going for £20. I didn't have £20 at the time, it was there, so I didn't get it. However, last month I found it for £20 on eBay and snapped it up. Luke then sent me a message through WhatsApp saying, all right, you bought it, are you actually going to watch them?
And that's only because you bought the Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake.
Oh, yes.
And to this day, you still haven't watched it. So that's why I said what I did. I was
not long after I started my job, I was actually going to buy the Friday the 13th set on DVD, the one that I've got now actually that I bought for 20 quid. I was going to pay 60 quid for it. I had a colleague who was going to go to Basingstoke and for the day, and CX in Basingstoke had it for 60 quid. 60 quid for a second-hand item is quite pricey, but that was the going rate for it. I now understand why it's so expensive, and I'll explain it now. Apparently, it's one of the only DVD collections to have all of the films in their uncut form, and that's why it's so expensive. There are some other reasons I understand that it's so expensive. That particular set is so expensive. But I bought myself a copy of the 2009 remake on Blu-ray from CX, where I live, Portsmouth.
Been there.
You have been there, done
yeah, Pompey.
It was £2, and I thought, you know what, I'll buy this and see if I like it. Blah blah blah. Never seen it. Haven't watched it. In fact, it's under my bed somewhere, I think. And I swear that Blu-ray case is crushed to buggery. To tell you even more of my wussiness, me and Luke, Luke still owns his set, had the Halloween Blu-ray set. I sold mine, A, because I needed the money at the time, and B, I wasn't really watching them, to be completely honest. I do regret selling that set now, because it now goes for a very pretty penny. And me and Luke both got our sets for absolutely zilch. That's a story we've told many, many times.
But anyway, I'll just say, while waiting for that to turn up during all of the crap that was happening, we were doing all-nighters on GTA. So shout out to you, more good man.
Yes, we're doing all-nighters on GTA. I think that was the time we played GTA for like 12 hours. That was I remember. Good times. Yes. Anyway, and one of the reasons why I sold that set is because I wasn't watching it, and the guy who eventually bought it, 84 Fan 88 just said the Friday the 13th. I'd love to get the Friday the 13th Blu-ray set, but it is freaking expensive. £200. It's a lovely set. I mean, it is by far one of the best sets I've ever seen. It's ironic because a number of years ago, in fact, Malcolm's in the chat. I don't know if he remembers this. I found it on Amazon for £58, but they wouldn't post directly to the UK. Malcolm turned around to me and said, you know, if you want to buy it, mate, send it to me and I'll send it to you. I went on to Amazon and it sold. So, you know, I was that close to potentially getting it from Amazon at one point. But, you know. Anyway, so I got this Friday the 13th set and Luke was like, are you actually going to watch it, are you? Sort of thing. I watched Friday the 13th Part 1, and although it is dated, and obviously we all know the big twist, we all know the twist nowadays, it was still an enjoyable film, and you can tell where the early beginnings of the slasher franchise started. Obviously, you know, technically Psycho started it off, then Halloween continued it on, and then of course Friday the 13th was the first like major franchise and series that, you know, really did kick it off. And I can understand, as I was talking to 80s Horror Fan 88 earlier on, I can understand why people get so fanatical about those films. There is something about those early 80s films, especially the slasher films, there's something special about them. There's something, you know, kind of low budget about them, kind of a bit cheesy about them. But the same token, there's something in there that no other film really has, to be completely honest. Cheese.
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese. Yeah, there's just something about them that's endearing, is in some strange way, and I can understand why people say that modern horror films do not, you know, don't capture the same essence that those films once had. A lot of them are just simply jump scares and no substance. Whereas, you know, there are some jump scares in Friday the 13th, but they're minimal because the whole point of the film is they are, as I said to Luke, I believe that Friday the 13th Part 1 is mainly a thriller. Yes, it has some horror elements to it, and there's gore, there's, you know, the constant presence. Sorry?
There's boobies.
Boobies. There's the constant presence, but in essence, I believe it's a. Oh my God! 80s Horror Fan 88 just said Ralph makes the atmosphere on Friday the 13th. Oh, Ralph. Oh, Ralph is a funny character. The funny thing with it is looking back on Friday the 13th through the lens of 2017 makes it so much harder to maybe appreciate that film. I mean, nowadays it just comes off a bit cheesy, not really, you know, that impactful. But back in 1980, was it 1980? Yeah, 1980. It must have been quite an impactful film in some ways. And trying to flip the slasher genre on its head and come out with, as I said to Luke, a bit of a whodunit story. You know, you see the killer go around killing people, but you don't know who the killer is at the start. Is, you know, something that the horror genre hadn't done yet at that point. You know, it took the thriller formula, made it a bit more impactful, a bit more gory in some ways. You had Tom Savini as the special effects artist, and then, you know, away it went with it. I mean, obviously, the latter Friday the 13th films become comical in more ways than one, and it's the same with Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, not that I've seen any of them, but I know that they end up becoming black comedies at the end. And some people think that Freddy Krueger is one of the best comedy icons going. I think that's a bit of a joke, but you get where they're going with that. And of course, you know, the other thing that you don't see in any other franchise is every time they try and sort of reboot or restart a horror franchise, you don't see it in any other franchise. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, they tried to restart those films several times. You
I
got
fell
Wes
asleep in the
Craven.
remake.
Sorry?
I fell asleep in the
Well,
remake.
no. What I mean is, they didn't start the initial franchise. You had Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which was an attempt to try and restart the franchise in the Halloween
That was good.
series of films. And the Halloween series of films, they tried to restart the story several times throughout the films. You don't see that in excuse me. You don't see that in any other franchise. You don't see them trying to restart the story again mid franchise, just because they feel like it. Essentially, obviously, there is the controversy surrounding whether people like or don't like the Rob Zombie Halloween films. That is a controversy that will go until the end of time, probably. And there are some people that absolutely detest the Friday the 13th remake, despite the fact that compared to the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, they are masterpieces, some might say. Do you have anything else to say on the Friday the 13th? Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Luke?
First time I watched it, I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I think I watched it for the fourth or fifth time. Obviously, I watched it with like some other people, and then blah 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 blah, and then I don't know. Like it just got to a point where I was like, nah.
Horror
It
fan
just-
said it's shit.
Yeah.
Robert,
If you want to go to sleep, put that on.
It's funny because the other thing that I was actually talking to this at work with a colleague about this. The funny thing is that Robert Englund has been Freddy Krueger for nearly all the films. The only film he wasn't, of course, is the remake. We got Jackie Earl Haley. Is that his name? He was the. He was the only time Freddy has been played by a different character, whereas Jason Voorhees has been played by several different people. Michael Myers has been played by several different people. And I have to say, Robert Englund definitely toughed it out in some ways. I don't know, obviously the logistics, maybe, Luke or horror fan. Hello, Draw Cheap. Where was I? Brain fart.
Another one. Bloody hell, man, you're on a roll here tonight, aren't you?
Shut up, you.
Think of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it will make it come back.
Slap you. Yeah. I'm just going to read out some of these comments because I've actually been not reading out some of these comments.
I can't
So-
see anything.
So yeah, 80s Horror Fan 88 said the Friday the 13th Blu-ray is £200-ish now. It's crazy. His longest GTA session is 35 and a half hours. My missus was ready to smash the TV, I can imagine.
What,
he said
straight?
cheese. Sorry?
What, straight?
I don't think that's straight because you need the toilet, you need to drink, you need to eat.
I know, I'm just, you know what I mean? Flipping now.
He said cheese, which was because I was talking about how cheesy some of the horror films can be.
Margarita.
Come on, get more Friday the 13th bits signed up. Some of the original Friday girls are in London Comic Con this year. Brilliant. Robert Englund is the only Freddy, yep. Friday the 13th remake is okay. Top 3 films of this year go like Jeepers Creepers 3, even though the director is a pervert. Was he a convicted paedophile? I mean, I know some. Yeah, I know some people are boycotting Jeepers Creepers 3 because he is a convicted paedophile. I know some people. This is a very, very tentative subject. I appreciate. And
Do you want to know why?
it's going to be. What's that?
I think I might know why. I'm having a sort of a deja vu of Ian.
Not really.
Okay.
You're right. It's a
On my
tentative subject. Well, because I am firmly of the belief that people can be redeemed. Some people believe there are certain crimes in which you cannot be redeemed. You are then tainted with that brush for the rest of your life, and those crimes normally come under paedophilia, rape, and murder. You should be in prison for life anyway. But those are the three that people normally say that you should be in prison for life for: child sexual acts or what have you, paedophilia, basically, rape and murder. I do believe that people should be given the chance to change. Here in the UK, we don't have capital punishment for a reason, because towards the end of capital punishment, people being wrongly accused of it and being killed despite being innocent. Yes, some nations still have the death penalty. However, because we don't have the death penalty, I do believe that once someone has served their time, they are then free to go about their business. Now, yes, the director of Jeepers Creepers 3 is a convicted paedophile, but as far as I'm aware, he has served his time. He has now come out of prison and he's made a film. With all due respect, he has turned his life around. He's come out of prison. He's maybe gone, hang on a minute, what I did was abhorrent. It was, it was everything you can think of. But he's turned his life around and he's made a film. Now, I don't know what's gone on the set of Jeepers Creepers 3. Whether he's still up to his old antics, I don't know. I don't really know what happened for him to be convicted as a paedophile previously. I could hazard a guess, but I don't know the specifics. But he has gone out. He has now gone out to the world and actually made something of himself. It is a very, very tentative subject. It is a very. There are a lot of eggshells around you need to tread on around this area, because there are always going to be people around who would, think that those type of people should never be allowed to be redeemed. Okay, he abused a lad on a set of Plan House. Okay, so in a previous film, he abused a lad. I'm repeating myself now, and I'll try and move on as quickly as I can. But he served his time. He's come out. He's made He's made another film, and we don't know the logistics for what happened previously. At the moment, he seems to be making something of himself rather than wallowing in self-pity, or let's be honest, what's the word? Offending again. Well, no, offending again. He's not going out, and offending again. But then, having said that, if he abused a previous person on a previous film I assume worked on, who knows if he's going to do that again. But at the moment, he is he's making something of himself. But 80s for 80s. 88 saying, I assume he's saying he's looking forward to Jeepers Creepers 3 coming out, which I'm glad to hear, because there's a couple of people on my Facebook who are completely boycotting the film. Oh, there we go, Draw Troop. Oh, there we go. The Draw Troop said Roman Polanski fled to another country to escape conviction. Yeah, he wins awards, get praised like crazy. It happens all the time. It's in a way it's subjective. Do you think they should be for the rest of their life condemned, or do you think they should be allowed to get on with their lives and try and make something of themselves? It's you have the objective part, which is they are a convicted criminal, and then you've got the second part, the subjective part, I do believe, which is do you believe they should be allowed to carry on with their lives? It's a difficult subject in a lot of ways. And as Luke alluded to earlier, I've had a very personal experience of this blowing up in my face. As you guys know, here in the UK, there was a very serious case of Ian Watkins, who is now the ex-lead singer of Lost Prophets. He was basically found guilty of raping a baby. and there were lynch mobs out for him. Let's just say that there were people gunning for his hide. Let's be honest. And he was put into prison, and basically, I don't think I don't think he's going to get out till he's 80, and even then, he'd probably be dead by then. I was speaking to a friend on Facebook about this, and saying that I don't believe in lynch mob mentality. I don't believe in the mentality that just because someone's been convicted of a crime means you should try and find them and kill them, because that makes you no better than they are. Long story short, this caused a bit of a problem between me and them, and they blocked me on Facebook, and I haven't spoken to them since. Even when I've spoken to a mutual friend between me and them, they don't really acknowledge me anymore. They do have a child. I suppose they did have a child. They still do have a child, and maybe that changes their opinion from mine to theirs. A lot of people have said that they do believe that this particular person overreacted, but at the same token, sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist. I can't wait for Jeepers Creepers 3. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. A horror fan 88 said 100% agree. You may not agree with what the director of Jeepers Creepers 3 has done in the past. Other people on that film need to earn a living. Exactly. It's not just the director that makes a film. It's everybody who makes a film. The producer, the makeup person, the person who brings coffees and food to people. It's not just the director. Yes, it's their name on the film, and it's them that probably gets all the praise, whether that's called for or not called for. It's it's a very subjective thing in a certain way. I have seen the first two Jeepers Creepers. I know that none other than Francis Ford Coppola worked on was it the first one he worked on? Which is very interesting that Francis Ford Coppola was involved with the first Jeepers Creepers, which when I first heard that for the first time years ago, that floored me that a director such as Francis Ford Coppola worked on Jeepers Creepers, but then you've got Jordan Peele, who's just worked on the film Get Out. If you don't know who Jordan Peele is, he's a comedian. He used to be a stand-up comedian, and yet he's just worked on the film Get Out, which has gotten mad praise. I mean, it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes until it got a slightly less than good review, and it dropped down to 99. So I've been waiting years for C3. Just happy it's happening for JC3. Sorry, I'm glad it's happening. I mean, I know people have been looking for Jeepers Creepers 3 for a long time. Just to say to Luke, I was saying that earlier on. I know that Francis Ford Coppola worked on the first Jeepers Creepers 3 in some capacity, which floored me that Francis Ford Coppola worked on a horror film. But then Oliver Stone's first film was a film called The Hand, starring Michael Caine, in which I think it's a serial killer got his hand cut off, and then the hand becomes possessed and goes around strangling people, trying to kill people. So and as Oliver Stone went on to do Natural Born Killers, JFK, which is one of my personal favourite films, and Born the 4th of July, and Platoon. So it just takes all sorts. It takes all sorts to come up with all sorts of films. What we got here?
Some people just want to watch the Rob Band.
Draw Treat. I think it was the first and second that Coppola had a hand in. I think it was something to do with the company owned called American Zoe Drape. I remember looking on IMDb once and finding Coppola's name on either executive producer or a producer's role. I then looked fairly recently, and his name is not on there. Now, I know that as time goes on, various people don't want their names on things, or their capacity within the film has changed, or, you know, their role back in the day, they've done interviews and gone, actually, my role's a little bit different in the film, unless someone's gone on to IMDb and changed it a little bit. But last time I looked, obviously, you know, it could have changed again, or I could be mistaken. But all I saw was that he had a fairly minor writing credit or something strange. But as Joel Treep has just said, something to do with the company that he owned called American Zoetrope. You know, that probably is why he had a hand in Jeepers Creepers. Obviously, you know, I know his name is Venom among some people, because Michael Bay at one point was looking to buy the rights to Halloween, which everybody was like, no, we don't want him to buy.
I remember that.
Because of course he was involved with Nightmare on Elm Street, but then he was also involved with Friday the 13th, and that, you know, didn't turn out, you know, that brilliant. 80s horror fan 88 has said, you don't always need blood to create a good horror. There was hardly any blood in the original Chainsaw Massacre. I just hope the CGI guys realize fake blood looks shit. I was actually having this discussion with a colleague the other day that still to this day I think one of the best looking films is The Thing, the 1982 The Thing, the John Carpenter The Thing. And it still, to me, holds up nowadays. Yes, it looks a little bit dated, but practical effects are always better than physical CGI effects. The problem with it is they are time consuming, they are hard to set up, and CG is easy. All you have to do is employ one person, well, not just one person, but a few people in front of a computer and go, yeah, I want this, this, and this on that scene, and where they go. Whereas practical effects require a lot of work. They require a finesse, they require artistic skill, they require setting up, you know. You had animatronics back in the day that required puppeteering and things like that. And of course, you know, all of that takes time, money, and manpower. CGI blood makes me cringe. I just saw Dead Rising Endgame and I had a nice mix of practical and CGI gore. Oh, that's nice to hear. What are your thoughts on practical effects versus CGI then?
What?
What are your opinions on CGI versus practical? Yes, you! The other person in this call stream.
Wow. I don't know, I do tend to think that obviously CGI sometimes can go over the top. But I don't know, I'd say that the practical in most cases tops CGI, especially in blood, because it can be made to look absolutely crap, as you say. So, yes.
I can't remember the film that I watched, and it was, to be honest, it was a budget film anyway. But somebody got shot with a shotgun, and then somebody got splattered with blood.
Was it Stag Hand?
That's with vampires, isn't it? Anyway, this man got splattered with some blood, and then he sort of goes this with his hand, moves away, and I kid you not, it was CGI blood for starters, so it wasn't practical blood. He had his hand on his thing, and the blood was over the top of his hand. He moves his hand away, and the blood is literally floating in front of his face. It was the most tackiest thing I think I've ever seen. And it was, as I said, it wasn't a particularly well-made film anyway, but it was funny more than anything. Best kill in any horror film has to be Kevin Bacon in the original Friday the 13th. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Friday the 13th, which I think everybody here has. Yes, an arrow through the back of the neck. Yeah. I would say shot through the heart and you're to blame, but he was arrowed to the neck. I was going to say something to that. Nope, brain fart.
Drink some more cough medicine.
Cough medicine.
Cough, cough. Hello, 5.
Draw Treat has said, that is a great kill, but Paul's death in the Blob was awesome. I haven't seen the Blob.
Maybe
I haven't said I'd enjoy the Blob. Have you seen the Blob?
No.
Neither of us has seen the Blob. That's a pro. Is that one where he like decomposes or something?
The only thing that I can think of is Goosebumps. Obviously, it's a subject, but yeah.
We need a Tom Savini Appreciation Day.
The blood that ate everybody.
We do need a Tom Savini Appreciation Day. I didn't realise until I looked it up. I didn't realise who Tom Savini was. But of course, he was what's his face in From Dusk Till Dawn. He was the guy with the cop gun. And From Dusk Till Dawn is by far one of my favourite films. Every time I watch From Dusk Till Dawn, I just get a giddy smile on my face. It is just a over the top wild ride of a film that, yeah. What do you think about From Dusk Till Dawn?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you haven't seen it at all. I was thinking, what?
Of course, I've seen it. I do rank it quite high. I've got to be honest.
I think when I first watched it, I was quite impressionable when I first watched it. Also, I've got a bit of a story. Someone brought it into school, and obviously, 18. Obviously, brought it into school as an 18, and we weren't allowed to bring 18s into school. We were just about allowed to bring 15 in, and the teacher had to look at it first to see if it was appropriate. And I remember, basically, we were only allowed to watch halfway through the film every single time because, you know, it's halfway through the film when they get to the titty twist, and then that's when the fun starts, shall we say. And I can vividly remember the first half of that film. Vividly, I'm redundant saying that, but you know what I mean. Whereas the rest of the film, obviously, you know, I do remember it. I don't remember it nearly as clearly because every single break, I'd come in to this guy who sat there watching the first half of From Dusk Till Dawn over and over and over again. And apparently, he always intended to go home and watch the rest of it. He never did. So he came back into school the next day, rewound it back to the start, and then played it. There was one day where we were moving from one school to another, and the teachers were barely around. Basically, the teachers were barely around, so we snuck a bit of extra From Dusk Till Dawn in, a bit of the second part of the film, while the teachers had their backs turned. But it was the funniest thing ever. That obviously, anytime a teacher came in, he'd pause the film and stop the film. And one of the LSAs, learning support assistants, cottoned on to what was going on. And at one point, he pressed pause instead of stop, and it was probably on the most incriminating still I've ever seen, which was basically one of the girls dancing with her tits out. And yeah, that very quickly ended our watching of From Dusk Till Dawn. From there on, we were never allowed to watch that film again, not even the first half of it. So yeah, bit of a story for people about what we used to happen during school.
Bloody hell.
We do need a Screen Factory here in the UK. We desperately need a Screen Factory here in the UK. I had heard at one point that Screen Factory were trying to set up a office or a distribution plant in France. I think it was. But it would be too expensive for them to do so. I would so love for there to be a Screen Factory over here, because not only are their sets and their editions lovely, they're actually becoming they pick up horror films that no one else wants to release or no one else wants to release, and they release them. They do something with them. So I'd love to have a Screen Factory over here, but you know, oh well, shit happens. Right, we've got some comments here. Maniac is really good, and the remake is good with Elijah Wood. If you get a chance to see The Blob, it is well worth the watch. I have it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and novelization too. Bloody hell. Creepshow is so cool as well. Just got that on Arrow release. Very nice. We need Screen Factory, yes, over here. Yep. I think I've seen some of Creepshow 1 and 2, but have seen all of Creepshow 3. And Horror Fanatic said Creepshow 3 is poo, lol. 1 and 2 are good though. I haven't seen Creepshow personally. Have you seen any Creepshow?
Nope.
Well, that's that then.
I think I've got some downloading to do. Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. Let's be honest, we all do it. Let's be honest here. We're all friends here. We're all friends here.
Thank you, Google, for your...
Poo isn't a strong enough term for it. Okay.
Shit.
I said this to Luke. I've said this to Luke on a few occasions. I don't think I've ever watched a film where I've literally gone, that was a waste of time. I'm trying to think what the worst film I've ever watched is.
Force Awakens?
What's that?
Force Awakens for you?
No, even Force Awakens wasn't a waste of time.
Oh,
the only thing I got close was Pathfinder. That's an interesting film. So, Pathfinder is a derivative of Dungeons and Dragons. So, everyone knows Dungeons and Dragons, the old role-playing game. Pathfinder was an attempt to make it a bit more easier to approach from a normal person point of view, not someone who's super geeky or well into it. And Pathfinder was a way of trying to simplify it, so anybody can get into it. It's like they're like set up board game sets of it. So as you guys know, there have been many attempts at a Dungeons and Dragons movies over the years. And then there was this low budget film. I was given the DVD by a colleague called Pathfinder. And it's an attempt to make a derivative of Dungeons and Dragons into a film. Yet it was never going to get that far. So Pathfinder is a simplification of Dungeons and Dragons. Pathfinder the film, yeah. It comes across as like I would say a B movie Lord of the Rings film, but even then it doesn't even come that close. It is, yeah, not the best film. Oh well. Got some more Serbian film. A Serbian film. Please do not watch this. Oh, I think Screen Factory released the original Willard and Ben on Blu-ray. A Serbian film. Please do not watch this. Okay. It will make you sick. Okay. I got sent a trade by the end, and I was like, "What the fuck is crazy sick?" Pathfinder, the Marcus Nispel movie. I think it's not Marcus Nispel. Yeah. Marcus Nispel was the one who did Friday the 13th, wasn't he? The remake.
I think so.
Is that Marcus Nispel? Didn't he also do the Hell Rising? This is where we get the phone out and we do some Googling.
Oh, yes.
We do some IMDbing.
Oh, yes. Imdb.
Imdb.
Yeah,
do you want the plus 4?
He did Friday the 13th.
Oh, we did.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember when I was given that film by the colleague, I looked at it and said, Marcus Nispel, that rings a bell.
Actually, Peter Weber directed Hannibal Rising.
of thinking, oh, fair enough.
I watched that about 2 weeks ago. Hang on, I think I told you.
Cannibal Rising.
Yeah.
No,
I've
you
had
didn't,
it on. I've had it on a DVD for about 5 years, and I've only just got round to watching it.
Oh, well, you haven't watched it up until now.
No. So
What do you think?
I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, bloody hell, how have I not seen that before? I was engrossed.
It's a good film.
Oh yes.
Yes, he also did. Yeah, I've just seen. He also did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake as well.
That was good. I enjoyed that. Well, the Heatherface film looks pretty good.
That looks strange to me. It's based in the UK, which, you
never know.
Interesting for a Texas Chainsaw. Oh, they're not calling it Texas Chainsaw Massacre though. They're calling it Leatherface, I suppose. Oh, Pathfinder by Marcus is a remake of a Norwegian film. Okay, then I I watched it thinking it was a take on Pathfinder, the board game or the fantasy game, because that's what it felt like to me. So it turns out I own 2 Marcus Nispel films without realising it.
You tart.
I'm a tart. I'm actually going to turn the heating on because it's actually colder than I realised. You can fill the air, Luke, with whatever you want to fill it with. Not that you can see in the comments, or if you went to the...
Well,
hang on.
I can't see the comments, innit?
You can if I send you the link. Just remember to mute it, or pause it rather.
Okay.
I'll send you through Facebook.
Deirdre.
So you can access it. Access it.
Poopsie.
So you can access it.
I'll put it on my phone then, Eggy boy.
Put it on your phone? What? No, go to the browser. Do it through your browser. So all you do is copy and paste, make a new tab. I've got it set up, so I've got one side the Google Hangout and then another window with it in there. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're on about.
What window is well, I think the test run is a success. Yes, it is a success. Actually, it is definitely a success. I'm going to go and turn the heating on. It's actually rather cold, and I want to heat up. Plus, at some point, I need to think about wrapping this up at some point. Anyway, you fill the air for a bit, Luke, and I'll go and turn the heating on.
No problem, dear. Have fun. Oh yes. Well, from what only started to be another test run, quick job, I think it's turned out to be quite nice, as this is our first stream since 2015. So that was a good few years back. Even though I'm interested in the new Halloween that's coming out. I know, 2015, it was nuts. So I don't know, I got doing one now. It's like, what? 2 years ago, dude. So yeah, it was something. And I don't know what that one was. I don't know, I think that was when we spoke about the Last of Us for a bit. I don't know, it's on his channel somewhere. But yeah, there. Yeah, I've heard that they've cancelled the Friday the 13th Part 2 remake or something. I don't know, I keep on seeing it everywhere. I don't know why, but found that quite interesting. I've got to be honest. God, we have a thumbs down. How sad. Oh, I hear footsteps. Come on. Oh, he's back. Ah, now there's a subject from a 80s horror fan 88. Friday the 13th game. Come on, how have we not mentioned this before?
What's Horror Fan 88 saying no way about?
Oh, obviously because it was like saying our last stream was in 2015.
Oh yeah, it was years ago.
Yep.
As I said at the beginning of this video, I'm hoping to make a regular thing of this, like some other people that I know on YouTube.
Hello, I'm up for it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello, I'm up for it anyway.
Anyway, I'd like to make this a weekly, bi-weekly, thing at some point.
Yeah, something to do with Rings Underperforming.
Something to do with Rings. Sorry, I think what's he referring to?
Oh no, it's because obviously I said that the Friday the 13th Part 2 reboot it's been cancelled, and obviously I think that's what he sort of said to it.
Oh, was that the same studio then, the same company?
I think so.
To be honest, when it comes to Rings, the premise of Rings, I'm surprised they didn't do that sooner. Because when the Ring came out, and its premise, and then a bunch of other films took that concept and then applied it to the internet, and then years later, Rings comes out. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, people have already done that to death, and yet, the original, sort of, what's the word? The original film that came out that day was obviously The Ring and the VHS. Mm-hmm. Friday the 13th can't be redone without Kane Hodder. See, the thing with it is there's a lot of people who do like Derek Mears as I was going to say Freddy. As Freddy, yeah. No, as Jason. But I know Luke likes Kane Hodder. And Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder also wasn't Jason in Freddy vs. Jason, which, although I haven't gone up to that yet, I can imagine that there are a lot of people who are crushed when they oh shit. I've been choked up by Kane Hodder. Yeah, I can imagine people were crushed when I found out that Kane Hodder wouldn't be in Freddy vs. Jason, because he was Jason for the last few films, and yet he wasn't in Freddy vs. Jason. I mean, yes. That to me just seems like they overlooked that in so many ways. The other bit of tidbit, if people don't know, is that is it Jason Goes to Hell? In one of the last few Friday the 13th films, Kane Hodder, who plays Jason, actually kills the guy who plays Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. There you go. But it's trivia for you if you didn't know that one, guys. I've forgotten his name right now. I should probably look it up on my phone. But I myself.
Tell you what, though, the Friday the 13th game, yeah.
Looking good.
That's out this year, isn't it? Got a picture taken with him, but he was actually strangling me. Couldn't have used to be strangled by a nicer guy.
I've heard that about him. He's a really nice guy.
Wow, he's all about the Dutchman.
Oh, that's it. Ken Kurtzinger. Ken Kurtzinger is in one of the last Friday the 13th films and gets killed by Kane Hodder as Jason. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, the now I've seen the first few. That's it. Jason Takes Manhattan. now that I've seen the first couple of Friday the 13th films, I can see where people are coming from where they're saying that it feels like the films, and it does. I watched, Luke knows, we both did it. We watched so much footage. Kane Hodder played Freddy. Yeah, Kane Hodder. Did you know? Did you know Kane Hodder played Freddy? No, you didn't know that. Oh dear.
Yeah, I was splooged a lot of hours on the people playing the beta for that.
Yeah, that
brilliant.
was 2 seconds. His glove. So what? So Kane Hodder played Freddy's glove. Yep, that checks out correctly. Obviously, I meant Jason, guys. You guys know what I mean. God's sake, I've got about 3 or 4 horror fans in here, busting my nut over getting Freddy and Jason mixed up and who played who. Oh, are you being serious? Oh well. So Kane Hodder played Freddy Krueger's glove.
What?
So why didn't he play Jason then? If he was in the film, why didn't he play Jason? Oh, and Jason Goes to Hell.
I need to rewatch that at some point.
So why wasn't Kane Hodder Jason then? If he played Freddy's glove. Oh dear. Kane Hodder had his glove. Oh, when he drugged his mask then. Oh, in Jason Goes to Hell at the end where he grabs the mask, it's Kane Hodder playing Freddy. Ah, got ya. Yes, because that's when they were teasing at the eventual crossover between Freddy and Jason, and of course, it didn't happen for another 9 years, was it? Whatever it was.
Oh yeah, Freddy Krueger's arm.
Yeah, it comes out and grabs the mask, doesn't it?
Bloody hell.
And then they proceeded to make 2 more Friday the 13th films, which was Jason Goes to Hell and... No. Well, Jason Goes to Hell was the one that referenced Freddy. And, of course, they made Jason X. Because, of course, Freddy versus Jason was in limbo for a while. In copyright limbo, red tape limbo, whatever it was. It was a tease for Freddy vs. Jason back in 1993 that was even kept in the comic adaptation. It's kept in the comic adaptation. More nice. Yeah, it was. Back in 93 and the film eventually came out in 2001. Bloody hell. That shows you how long it took for them to make sure both the rights were in the right place for them to actually come up with a film.
Mine officially blown.
Apparently, that's why they came up with Jason X, is to keep people interested in Jason, and they came up with Jason X because they were still working out the rights and things like that for Freddy versus Jason. Maybe some people can explain why, when it comes to horror film rights, why there seems to be so much back and throw with them. Because it seems every major horror film franchise seems to have a lot of back and throw when it comes to rights, who has what right, who has the right to do this and that, and all this kind of stuff. Especially when it comes to the most recent rights of Friday the 13th and the Halloween films. So what's your What's your bullet point list for the latest? Yes, I know Kane Hodder also plays a security guard in Part 5. Yes, I knew that. Doesn't he play a security guard in Jason X, doesn't he? Or is it Part 5?
plays a security guard in Ghost to Hell.
In what? Goes to Hell. That's it. Goes to Hell. I remember reading an unused script for Freddy vs. Jason written by the guys behind Battlestar Galactica reboot. Well, that's Ronald D. Moore. The producer and the writer of Battlestar Galactica is Ronald D. Moore. He was also the writer on. He was also the writer on The Next Generation. I would have liked to have seen that. I would like to have seen that.
Bloody hell.
Freddy vs. Jason by the guys behind Battlestar Galactica reboot. That would have been interesting. Bloody hell, that would have been interesting. If you didn't know, guys, Battlestar Galactica is phenomenal in so many ways. That is the reboot of Battlestar Galactica for me is the. I can't even begin to how I would explain it. It is. I love that show in so many ways. He's a stuntman. He's never broken a bone. Bloody hell!
It's all right.
Kane Hodder has never broken a bone. Wow. He's a big man.
I was about to say that, man. He's a big.
What is he like? He's actually like 7 foot tall, isn't he? He's a big man. Got big shoulders. Anyway, what is your bullet point list for the upcoming Halloween film? What do you want to see?
I thought you'd get into this at some point. It's supposed to take part after the second one, isn't it? Is it?
It's supposed to be a continuation of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Is it? Oh. I thought that it was, obviously supposed to take part after the original one.
Rob Zombie's this is Rob Zombie's own words. These are Rob Zombie's own words. Halloween 1 is a remake of the original Halloween. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 takes place 10 years after the events of the last Halloween film, i.e. Halloween Resurrection. Yeah. Which is confusing. Yes, exactly. When I heard that, and apparently that was Rob Zombie's own words, I was like, what?
No.
And there's even a couple of reviews I've heard people say that. Most people just take Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as its own film because that's crazy.
No.
Anyway, go.
That's just fucking stupid. But anyway. That's me being brutally honest. Well, seeing as I thought that it was actually taking part after the original second one and supposed to be tying up between the events of 2 and 4, that would have been interesting.
I want to see Tony Moran as a face again and go back to its roots.
Yep. he was the best Michael Myers, in my opinion.
No, the best Michael Myers is John Carpenter.
No, it was Deborah Hill.
Oh yeah, I remember that they both played it. It's John Carpenter in the first film, and then it was Deborah Hill. Yeah.
Saucy.
Yes. Although let's be honest, let's give credit where it's due. Of course, William Shatner is the best Michael Myers.
That's where his mask was inspired from. Yes.
Well, they bought a William Shatner mask from the local prop shop. Well, not prop shop, the local costume shop. And they gouged the eyes out, painted it white. And then that's the mask. So, the best Michael Myers is actually William Shatner.
Best Michael Myers, in my opinion, is Chris Durand for the body movement. Saying that though, I've read that the worst Michael Myers actors is the one that played him in H2O, because how he moved.
All right.
Yeah,
The new Halloween film is connected to the original Halloween movies.
I thought so. Is it
I
supposed
heard. Well, Rob Zombie accidentally admitted in an interview, revealed that he was working on a number 3. But then something happened to the rights and he didn't have it. So I heard, because of course this film has been in limbo for so long, that it was taking place after the events of the second Rob Zombie film. But let's be honest, the script's probably been rewritten so many times at this point that any of these facts could be true or not true.
Well, it was supposed to be out on Halloween, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be out a couple of years ago, but for reasons it wasn't. And then it was.
Rob Zombie needs to make a third installment.
Yeah, I know at one point the company behind it went bust, and then the rights changed hands, and at one point the rights end up in the hands of Disney, which is just funny to think about, that the rights of Halloween ended up in the hands of Disney.
That flipping now, that'd be brilliant. That would it? I don't know where Michael Myers might possibly burst out into song.
Hey, Bruno!
I killed my sister, and her name was Laurie Strode.
And the only reason why Disney bought the rights to it is because they were hoping there would be some trademarks and patents and things like that they could get hold of, but there wasn't really. So they sold them on or gave on the rights to somebody else who could actually do something with the Halloween franchise. Yeah. Rob Zombie needs to make a third installment of the Devil's Rejects House of a Thousand Corpses franchise. What's your take on that? I assume you've seen both those films.
I agree. House of a Thousand Corpses, definitely, but not the Devil's Reject. I don't know, it's a tricky one.
You're not a big fan of the Devil's Rejects?
Oh, yeah, well, I am. I'm just saying. Because I think, well, I'm sure we've spoken about this previously, but certain films just need to be left untouched and don't. What's the word? They don't have to have a sequel.
Fair enough. I have to say, a good friend of mine, I still refer to her as a good friend, although we haven't spoken in years, and I don't think she remembers who I am. Edgar Alex Ragdoll, Fern Slagle, although she's now married and her surname's no longer Slagle, anyway, said to me, did say to me that I need to watch a House of a Thousand Corpses because it has, and she quoted, one of the best slow-mo kills ever to grace film. I see you staring blankly ahead. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry.
No,
I was reading the comments.
No worries. Yeah, she said it has one of the best slow-mo kills and slow-mo scenes that have graced film.
Not bad, Deirdre.
So what was the last song of Devil's Reject then?
I'm in no mood for trick questions.
He said, look, 80s Horror Fan 88 said, you were right, it did. The last song was so fitting. I assume he's referring to Devil's Rejects. That's what you were talking about. Unless I've missed something here. Sorry.
Unless it was when I was singing about that Michael Myers song.
Freebird.
Oh, maybe not then.
Have you seen any of the Leprechaun remakes?
No, I've seen the original.
I have actually heard that Rob Zombie does make some good music choices in his films, which is fitting since he's also a musician himself.
Here's an old horror film for you to watch: The Burning.
The Burning.
Yeah.
See, I'm doing that, but we're going to be 3 years down the road. I still wouldn't have watched it. My dad said the other day. He said he reckons I'd really enjoy. I'd really enjoy Village of the Damned or Valley of the Damned, which those are one of them is a remake of the other. I also found out that John Carpenter did a remake in 1995, starring Christopher Reeve of all people.
Bloody hell, Superman himself.
Yep, Superman himself in a horror film. So yes, at some point I'll be checking out the original Children of Valley of the Damned, which are both 60 films, and then I would, and then I will watch the John Carpenter remake. The remake of Leprechaun was freaking abysmal. So who
put it to bed then?
Who played the Leprechaun in the remake? I take it wasn't Warwick Davis at that point. I know Warwick Davis did play the Leprechaun in the previous films. Cropsey.
Yep.
Who's Cropsey?
The Burning.
Ah.
Yeah.
He's referring to Burning.
Yeah.
Is that a horror film? Or?
Yep. It was banned in the UK for quite some time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you want me to watch it knowing how I feel about horror films and it's banned?
No, trust me. It's... You know how, like he sort of said, that the effects and whatnot of Friday the 13th now seem a bit... Yeah.
Dated? Yeah, maybe a bit.
Oh yeah, but it's still...
Oh yeah, it's still effective.
That's why I sort of said it about the Steelbook. It looks brilliant. I'm going to have to possibly purchase it at some point.
But then I now own A Clockwork Orange, which was banned in the UK for a number of years. And I know the exact reason why it was banned for a number of years in the UK. And yet, there is something about it that makes me nervous about watching it. The same with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was burned in the UK. It was burned. It was banned in the UK for a number of years. And yet, as was it Horror Fan 88 said earlier, it barely has any gore or blood in it. Oh, he's a wrestler. I think his name is Dylan Postel. Oh yeah, it was. It's the guy who plays Flipswick. You know, Finley's little leprechaun person. You remember? That's who played Leprechaun in the latest films. I remember now. Flopswick or whatever his bloody...
Hornswoggle.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hornswoggle. That's who played. Yeah, I remember now. I remember at the time thinking, oh, fucking hell. Does that mean that the latest Leprechaun film was made by the WWE movie studio? Bloody hell. Oh dear.
Even though there are some films from the WWE that are actually pretty good.
What do you mean, like See No Evil, The Marine?
Yeah. They're good. The sequel to See No Evil is actually pretty damn awesome as well.
What was the one with Taker?
Undertaker hasn't won a film.
Oh, he did?
No. Kane has.
I like Kane has. I could have sworn Taker had done one. Okay, maybe I'm.
I just bought
tonight a big gold WWE. Nice.
Very sassy. Maybe
one might say it's very saucy.
Maybe you can show it off in our hangout.
Yeah.
It is. Well, both of us can show off this, and they'll be like uber jealous.
Missing a gem though. That's a shame. Hey, we've got another wrestling fan here, Luke.
I know, yeah.
It's strange how horror, gaming, and wrestling seem to go. people fans of each of those seem to be the fans of the others.
Have gone.
Oh, well, good plan.
Yeah, so there we go. Hey, nice. Roll on Mania. That's all I can say.
Well, WWF as I still call it. That's fair enough.
Yeah, Mania.
Woof. It's woof. Goes back to was going about the other week at Phone Jacker. Plus 4 and plus 3. You're playing your plus 3? Nah, just have it to have it. What about your does? Nah. See, you don't play your plus 3 because you're too busy playing your Wii. What about the does?
The
Brilliant. And the puspa.
And
What's your opinion on the Great Khali?
His hench.
His hench. That's Luke's opinion on the Great Khali. His hench.
Yeah. And he's also Chinese. No, he's not Chinese. He's, I don't know. He's bloody.
People hate on him. Obviously, he wasn't a great actor. Wasn't great on the mic. But he was a towering. What's the word? He was a towering, oppressive person. I know. To be honest, there are a lot of towering, oppressive people in wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Well,
as disagreed.
Needs a return, and also why we were WWE making old talent, new talent look shit. What the fuck? Yeah, I can see where that's going.
I'll tell you something though. I've got a thing for Bailey at the moment. Oh.
I think a lot of people have got a thing for Bailey.
Yeah.
Now that Paige has quit or been fired or whatever happened to her.
Anyway. Now, I don't know. We went on the WWE Network for the 9 month earlier.
WWE Network.
Yeah. I don't know. I just found like myself watching Hatches like to do with Bailey was like. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's immensely talented. Oh yeah, she's talented. She is definitely. I'm surprised it's taken her so long. Spoiler alert for Fastlane, guys, and I mean this. Spoiler alert for Fastlane. If you haven't seen Fastlane, spoiler alert. I'll hold my hand up. When I take my hand down, you can unmute. But if you want to mute, there are spoilers for Fastlane. If you haven't seen Fastlane yet, I'm surprised it's taken so long for them to give her back the WWE Women's Champion, because she had it for a bit, and then I'm surprised it's taken her so long to get it, or to have it back. Anyway.
Nah, but Paige though, yeah.
Oh yeah, by far, Paige was the aesthetic I enjoyed. I find myself watching old Attitude matches over the new stuff. To be honest, I was doing that for a while because a little inside baseball is I share my Netflix subscription with Luke, and he shares his WWE subscription to me. And when he first did it, I actually went through quite a rabbit hole of watching a bunch of Taker matches.
Hell in the Cell with Mankind. Oh yeah.
Hell in the Cell, and then watching a bunch of Mankind matches, and then strangely watching a bunch of Scotty 2 Hotty matches. I tell you what he could do with a ladder, fucking hell. Bob Holly hardcore matches all the way.
Yeah.
There's a match I've been trying to find on the WWE Network, and I can't find it for love nor money. So it's a scaffold match versus Tommy Dreamer, and I think it's Sabu, but I don't know. The only scaffold match I can find easily on the WWE Network is Stunning Steve Austin versus Tommy Dreamer, which is in the WCW. Sad that Crush Holly died the way he was. Funny, died.
And China.
Yeah, they think she died of CTE, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Which is becoming, increasingly and more recently that it's turning out that wrestlers are dying of CTE, which is not good. They should have been screaming for this years ago for CTE, but hey ho. They're getting better at it.
Goldberg.
Hopefully.
Goldberg.
What about Goldberg?
Spoiler alert, he is the champion.
You need to give more warning than that. Although, given how fanatical people seem to be about wrestling here, I think people have seen Fastlane at this point.
Yeah. Apart from you. Well, you have Nat, but yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. How do I know that Bayley'd won the women's champion then? If I if I hadn't seen all of Fastlane,
Because you might have. Hang on, because that was the match prior to.
yeah. Because as I was well, as it turns out, Horror Fan 88, we need to start. Goldberg was in WCW, yes.
Yeah.
As it turns out, we actually need to wrap this up anyway because Luke has a restart scheduled at 3:30 on his computer, and I can vouch for as much anybody can on Windows 10. You can't postpone that. Once it tells you it's got a restart required.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it will not postpone it. So, seeing as Horror Fan 88 is going to have a shower anyway, we will wrap this up. As I said, anybody who's watching this live, there's going to be another live hangout. Have to say though, will Goldberg break? Will beat Brock in 3 to 5 seconds. We'll see. We shall see what happens. How quickly Goldberg beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. We shall see how quickly or how long rather that match plays out for. Yes. Anyway, I'll wrap this up. As I've said previously a few times throughout this live stream, there will be another live hangout. Hopefully this weekend, on either Saturday or Sunday. If not, I'm sure we can try and get something together. It's going to be at this precise moment in time. It's me, Luke, 80s Horror Fan 88, and Deep Sea Skeptic. As I've said at the moment, I won't say 80s Horror Fan 88's real name or Deep Sea Skeptic's real name just yet, just in case they want me to. But yes, hopefully the next stream will be with all four of us. And to be honest, given how 80s Horror Fan 88 has been so interactive with this chat, I'm actually really looking forward to having him as a live guest in the next chats.
And me.
Anyway, sorry, Luke. Oh, and Luke.
Me. Oh.
If you want to, yep.
Also, might seem a bit cheesy, but I think on April 2nd, or I don't know, whenever, like everybody's free, that we should possibly do predictions for WrestleMania.
Good. Good reference there. There we go. He's actually said his name is Ross. There we go. I knew his name was Ross because I friended him earlier on Facebook. But I didn't want to, I want to be courteous and not shout people's real names out, just in case they don't want that. Because there are some people who are a bit precious about me shouting out their real names on the internet, despite me knowing them. Yeah, dead keen. Yep, he's dead keen to be involved with this next time we do this. Brilliant. You know, I look very much forward to having you on. Hopefully it'll be a pretty good chat. Just think, mate, you can actually talk rather than having to type, which will be a pretty decent. Anyway, sorry to cut it short. So, yeah, by all means, actually, yeah. But I Braveheart again in the Blaze stream. We've got 5 minutes left. I've got to do this quickly. Yes, Draw Treat. By all means, you can definitely join at some point. To be honest, I do apologise, sort of, but I was in the middle of speaking to Luke, Deep Sea Skeptic, and 80s Horror Fan 88, aka Ross. I was speaking to them actively earlier about rounding up a few people and doing a hangout. As I said earlier on, I do want to make this a regular thing. So you know, there could be the potential for people to roll in and out. You know, if 1 week Ross can't make it, or 1 week Deep Sea Skeptic can't make it, or if Luke can't make it at some point, you know, there is definitely places open for other people to pop in and out if they want to. I want to make this a regular thing, and I want, you know, as many subscribers that both want to and I want to be a part of it. To be completely honest, be a part of it. You know, there are some people who I will quite kindly tell them to fuck off. But Draw Treat, 80s Private Fan 88, Deep Sea Skeptic, Luke, you can fuck off. You're all more than welcome to pop in at any point. To be part of this at any point. Anyway, we need to wrap this up quickly because Luke is about to have a forced restart. Sorry. Very quickly, Luke, if you want to go through a spiel, where can I find you online?
YouTube. Oh yes, YouTube.
Search YouTube for Luke McKenzie. It's LUKEMCKENZIE, and you can find Luke McKenzie. Thank you very much for everybody who has participated in this chat tonight. I'd like to give a massive thank out to Leandra, Malcolm, May 2 December, 80s Fan 88, Draw Treat. Thank you. Yes, as 80s Fan Horror 88 just said, a very nice troll-free evening. I don't think that's going to happen in the future. There is definitely going to be trolls at some point. It's just a matter of time. It is the internet. After all, I know a very specific troll that's probably bound to show up at some point. All I'm going to say to people while we're here is, if any trolls do turn up, don't rise to the occasion. Ignore them. I will ban them as soon as I see them, especially particular ones, and we'll just forget they even exist. Don't get riled up, guys. Don't let them get the better of you. The whole point of these live chats is for them to be nice, relaxing, a sit back discussion sort of thing, not to be riled up by a troll coming in, especially some people who some rats among people. Anyway, right. Anyway, I have to wrap this up quickly because Luke's about to have a forced restart. Thank you everybody who has been commenting. I look very much forward to speaking live with both Ross and Deep Sea Skeptic, hopefully this weekend, if not when we next do this. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
It's been fun. Catch you later.